Okay, welcome to the news on the 1st of October. It's been a few days since I've done some aggressive health news. So first off, what's going on? Well, the reason I'm on the Jing Herbs page right now is that we ordered some products from Jing Herbs back in July, but the parcel went missing. So after going back and forwards with Jing Herbs, they put in a claim, and guess what? As soon as they put a claim in, lo and behold, the parcel got found. So for those of you that are waiting on any Jing Herbs products, they will be in early next week because they'll be booked into, well, they'll come in tomorrow, but they'll have to be quarantined still for 48 hours. So yeah, they'll be here next week. So that's the first thing. Second thing, congratulations. Let's play this video here. The winner of the competition to win over £100 of Jing Herbs is Saman. So we've emailed Saman, congratulations. We've even asked him what he wants, so he can even pick his own price, which is great. So we're still waiting to hear from him. Obviously, Saman, if we don't hear from you, then in a couple of weeks' time, I'll have to give the price to someone else. So let us know as soon as you can. So that's that. What's our next competition? The next competition is to win over £100 of Divinia water. Is the competition page. You just need to go to aggressivehealthshop.com/div-comp. Is my bottle of Divinia water here. Love the stuff. Once you learn about it, once you understand the details, especially to do with exclusion zone. If any of you have read The Fourth Phase of Water by Dr. Gerald Pollack, after all the water that he's tested, and remember that's his subject, Divinia has the highest EZ signature. It's also deuterium depleted down to 130 parts per million. If you don't know what that means, and you want to know, let us know, because we can, pass you or put you into the Divinia. We've got like a little mini education series. The bond between the hydrogen and the oxygen is weaker than normal. All of these, everything I'm mentioning has all been studied at a variety of different universities around the US. So that's the competition. And that will end middle of the month, so 15th of October. So you've got 2 weeks to get cracking with that. And that's pretty much what's going on at the moment. But what else have I been looking into? What else have I been watching? Well, quite interesting. A little while back, a few days ago actually, let's have a look when it came out. Premiered on the 23rd of September, so a week ago. This video here, a Chinese virologist reveals coronavirus cover-up by CCP exclusive interview. I'm kind of surprised on the Valuetainment platform that this hasn't been pulled, because anything to do with coronavirus usually gets pulled, which then kind of makes me get a little suspicious. Nothing wrong with being a bit suspicious. But what's interesting is when you watch it, the one thing that was quite interesting, that the bit that kind of stood out for me, she sort of gives an example. Let's say you had a cow, and then you tweak something, and then the cow had different colour, a cow with spots or something like that, or something was tweaked, and the cow, it still looked like a cow, but it was like a different colour or something like that. She was saying, as a virologist looking at coronavirus, it's kind of like a cow, but it's got a monkey's foot, and it's got like a bird beak. It's very obvious that it's not something that has just created in nature. It's been created inside a lab. But what's interesting is when you watch her speak, especially on the Valuetainment one, it does look like she's reading, like she's reading off of a screen. And I'll be honest, it's not the easiest thing to listen to, just because of her accent. But I listen to it nonetheless. And then lo and behold, she also gets interviewed on London Real from Brian Rose, and again, very worthwhile listening to. But it's interesting when you start reading the comments. Oh man, so many people are like, observe her gestures, look at her facial expressions, blah 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 blah, fake. And it's interesting because what this does now, all these comments, it puts some doubt into your mind. But I think the interesting thing about that is, if you've not watched any more educational videos on this, like for example, you haven't seen Plandemic, or if you scroll down here, you haven't listened to Rashid Buttar, especially Judy Mikovits. For me, this is an obvious one because I read her book years ago, Plague, and then she's got Plague of Corruption. And so, when you've read information like that and you really start to get down into the nitty gritty and you start to understand the details of what's going on, all of a sudden you get a picture that's like this, when the news just gives you this tiny little picture like this. It's so easy for the news to just go, oh, she's a fake, she's just blah, 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 and everyone believes that. But when you start to go deep into it and you start to see that, she's been on the same platform with like Bruce Lipton, Rashid Buttar. You know, there's so much stuff going on. But again, people are still like, no, surely not, surely not. But well, here's the thing. If you want a little bit of, it's funny because we watched this film, like, well, we finished watching it last night because little one's got teeth coming through at the moment, so she's waking up in the night. So we kind of, this film we had to watch over 2 or 3 nights. But this is Official Secrets, okay? So it's based on a true story. And in fact, at the end of the film, you actually get to see the woman who's portrayed by Keira Knightley. But this is the true story of a British whistleblower who leaked information to the press about an illegal NSA spy operation designed to push the UN Security Council into sanctioning the 2003 invasion of Iraq. So you remember in a couple of videos back, we was talking about the weapons of mass destruction. That's what the whole thing was about, weapons of mass destruction. Well, she working in the intelligence agency, she had an email come through, and it was basically trying to persuade, you'd have to watch the film, but to persuade people to, persuade us to go to war, the US and the UK, to go to war to Iraq. And she was like, well, hang on a second, this is going to kill thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. And at the end of the thing, at the end of the film, it actually shows how many people were killed in Iraq. And guess what? There were no weapons of mass destruction. And what she leaked, had it been, had action been taken sooner, then maybe the war wouldn't have happened. So, but what's the point of me telling you about this film? Well, one, it's entertainment. Entertainment's obviously easier to watch than documentaries. But again, when did this happen? 2003. And where are we now? We're that many years on. We're getting the truth, but we never get the truth at the time. We always get it, we always, it always sort of becomes sort of mainstream, if you like, many, many years later. So my question is, when you watch people like this, this lady here, and you listen to Judy Mikovits, and you listen to Rashid Buttar, what are we going to be, what's going to be the revelation in 2030? Oh, you look back on that, when all the investigations have been done on COVID and everything else, then there might still be divide, a bit like 9/11, massive divide. But what's interesting is the number of people now that are just totally on board with the fact that something's not right here. We're not being told the whole truth. And this, by watching a film like this, which again, just goes to show, should we always believe everything we're told from our government 100%? You watch this film and you're like, of course not. And I'm always saying that, and I'm sitting there with Elizabeth last night because I'm always rambling like this sort of stuff. I'm sure she gets sick of it. In fact, I know she gets sick of it. And she's sitting there going, oh my God, can't believe this happened. I'm like, sitting there all smug. I told you so. The government, don't believe everything that comes out of the mouth of the government. Anyway, so that's the aggressive health news of the day. Interesting stuff. Want to watch an interesting film? Official Secrets. Find it on Prime. And